9:42, southeast of Moscow. A MiG-29 rolls out of its holding pattern and points its nose at a wall of slow, crawling contacts drifting toward the city. 24 Ukrainian FB-1 drones, barely faster than rush-hour traffic on the ring road below. Easy kills. The pilot has flown this exact intercept before. What he doesn't know yet is that he's about to burn every missile he's carrying on garbage, and the real strike hasn't even crossed the border. 30 kilometers out, a ground radar operator watches the same swarm crawl across his scope. 24 contacts, fat and slow, holding a straight line for the southeastern districts. 11 minutes before the leading edge reaches the apartment blocks where his guns fall silent. He doesn't reach for missiles first. He reaches for his jammers. He isn't jamming the drones, he's jamming the sky around them, flooding every navigation corridor but one with noise, so each drone loses its GPS fix and drifts toward the only patch of quiet left. It's the oldest trick in electronic warfare. Block every road but the one you want the traffic on. The lead FB-1 drifts a degree, then two, curling off its bearing toward open fields to the south. The whole front edge of the swarm bends the same way, and the operator hasn't fired a shot. Now the sky gets crowded on purpose. He's steering the swarm into a box where his own aircraft are about to work. Put ground guns, a fighter, and attack helicopters into the same airspace, and someone downs a friendly by accident within a minute. So they stack it. The MiG works high, the helicopters work the deck, and the ground guns hold fire as long as anything friendly is airborne. Clean on paper. It's about to be the reason nobody stops what's coming next. The MiG-29 punches into the box first. A contact bursts apart above the drone stream, and the jet screams through the gap a half second later, already hauling into a climbing turn to reset. It's carrying the R-73 short-range and R-27 medium-range missiles under its wings. Weapons built to gut a supersonic fighter or a cruise missile doing 900 kilometers an hour. It's now hunting a drone doing 160. That's the entire problem. A MiG-29 doesn't fly slow. It can't loiter, can't creep up beside a target and take its time. The wings need speed to stay in the air at all. So every pass is the same. Dive, fire, blow straight past the target because the jet is moving 4 times faster than what it's shooting at. Then burn 30 seconds hauling the nose around for another look. A Formula One car sent to chase bicycles through a parking lot. All that thrust becomes a liability the moment the target can't outrun a slow turn. Even the radar is working against him now. The MiG-29's N019 set was built to hold a lock on a single fast, high-value target at long range. A bomber, a fighter, something worth the effort. Pointed at 24 slow, radar-quiet plywood airframes bunched together at low altitude, and the returns blur into clutter. One smear where the scope should be showing 24 separate threats. The pilot ends up doing what the radar can't, eyeballing the nearest contact, walking his gun sight onto it by hand, firing, and hoping the missile sorts out the mess before impact. A system built for precision is reduced to a shotgun, and every shell in that shotgun costs more than a small car. The R-27 is worse off than the R-73 here. It's a semi-active weapon. The jet has to keep its own radar locked on the target the entire time the missile is in flight, painting it all the way to impact. Against a maneuvering fighter, that's a fair trade. Against a drone crawling in a straight line at 160 kilometers an hour, it means the MiG has to fly straight and level, radar locked, for several long seconds while every gun on the ground below could, in theory, take a shot back. It's the price of using a weapon designed for 1980s Cold War intercepts against 2020's cardboard. Down on the deck, a Ka-52 does what the MiG can't. It slides in beside a low-flying FB-1 at matching speed, cannon-walking tracers across the fuselage until the drone tumbles into a field. Then it just stays there, sliding onto the next one, and the next, hanging in the air as long as it wants. Where the MiG's speed is a curse, the helicopter's patience is the whole plan. For 10 minutes, between the jet up high and the gunships on the deck, it looks like the intercept is working. Then someone finally checks the number that matters. Not kills, but drones still inbound. It hasn't moved. For every FB-1 the MiG or the helicopters knock down, the wall on the radar stays exactly as wide as when it started, because half of what they've been shooting at was never a threat. Plywood airframes, bare reflectors built to throw back a radar echo identical to the real thing. $55,000 a copy. No warhead, no purpose but to look expensive enough to shoot at. The MiG's rails run dry around the 40th kill. Every missile it fired cost more than the decoy it hit. Some fired into wreckage worth less than the fuel burned chasing it. The jet turns for home with an empty rack, and the helicopters thumb their last rounds into the tail of the fake wave and break off too. Airspace over the corridor goes quiet. Not one Russian aircraft shot down. Every one of them simply out of ammunition. And that's when the second wave shows up 8 kilometers back. The wave that was never trying to get herded anywhere. These aren't FB-1s. 4.5 meters of airframe, a wingspan pushing 7 meters, a gasoline engine driving a pusher propeller in the tail, so the nose is free to carry 300 kilograms of fuel and explosive. It flies on a Western-designed inertial navigation system that counts its own turns and cross-checks the ground through a camera against a map it memorized before takeoff. No GPS linked to jam, because it was never listening for one. The corridor, the operator spent 10 minutes carefully herding the first wave into means nothing to a drone that never needed the signal in the first place. There's no MiG left to meet it, no helicopters. Every fast mover that could have thinned this wave is on the ground reloading, and the only thing standing between the drones and the refinery now are Panzer batteries and men with shoulder-fired missiles. Batteries that can hold 24 locks on radar, but can only guide 2 missiles home at once, and gunners whose seekers need heat to lock onto, hunting for an engine's exhaust against a sky already turning into a wall of burning fuel from the leakers that got through first. The refinery catches fire for the second time in a week, not because the MiG-29 flew badly. The pilot did exactly what he was trained to do, exactly what the jet was built for. He caught a Formula One car up against bicycles, when the real threat was already lined up behind them, wearing a different shape entirely. Nobody built a doctrine for a war where the interceptor costs more than everything it's chasing, and the cheapest drone in the sky is the one still wearing a warhead when it lands. By the time the smoke clears, the accounting is brutal. A jet that cost tens of millions of dollars, flown by a pilot who trained for years, spent its entire warload on plywood and a radar reflector. The helicopters that actually earned their kills couldn't be in 2 places at once, and nobody thought to hold a second flight in reserve for exactly this, because nobody expected the first wave to be bait. Somewhere in a debrief room that afternoon, someone is going to draw a chart showing 40 drones destroyed and call the morning a success, and the chart won't show the one number that actually decided the outcome. How many fighters were left in the sky when the real strike crossed the border? The answer was 0, and the refinery burned because of it. Bye for now.